Hello, podcast fans. Guess what? It's December 2021. We've survived another year, and the whole team is back around the table for the first time since July 2020. Woo-hoo! Welcome back. Hello, everybody. So, the full crew are here. I'm Chris Hobson, and opposite me is Mr. Matt Gregory.
Hello, listeners.
Diagonally is the gorgeous Mr. David Yeo.
Hello.
And to my left is my beautiful wife, Akiko Hobson.
Hello.
Now, before we get into the podcast, I just remembered I introduced you as either Mrs. Akiko Nozaki or Miss Akiko Hobson on every episode of the first series of the podcast.
Why?
I don't know. By accident.
Should I go back to Miss Nozaki?
You didn't know that, did you? You don't listen to the podcast, do you?
I don't really care.
Anyway, so we're back around. It's the first time since the second Q&A, which we recorded in July 2020, that we're actually all sat around the same table. And it's nice to see everybody. We've all seen each other individually, haven't we, through what's been a tiring and trying 18 months, but we're on it. We're back. So, Matt, what's been going on, love?
What, since we last recorded?
Yeah. How's your 21 been?
Weird. When I think back to January, now being in December, when I think back to January, it feels so vivid, because we went back into that lockdown, didn't we? After Christmas.
Yeah, so in the UK we had it open, and then everything, what was it, Boris said, we'll open the schools on the 3rd of January, on the 4th of January, we were all back to Zoom.
Yes.
So actually all four of us were back to Zoom, weren't we?
I had a full timetable on Zoom back then. For about 2 months, for a couple of months.
Is it the most classes you've ever played in a week on that schedule?
Yeah. But pajamas from
I was going to say, how close were
it
you?
was amazing. Just looking presentable from the waist up.
Yeah. And then we had the back end of January. It was your birthday celebrations, David.
That's right.
But we were locked down, so Akiko and I decided to form ourselves into a self-employed delivery company. And socially distanced, call around.
Yes.
That video's still on the social, isn't it, I think?
Probably.
Yeah.
If not, I can put it back on the
because I knew when you were teaching, so we came around and trashed your ballet class with the melodica and played Happy Birthday, socially distanced in your front garden.
In your garden. You looked panicked.
Was that a nice surprise, David?
It was a gorgeous surprise. It really
because
was.
It did not look like.
No, because when your
I didn't know what was going on.
When your housemate answered the door, and he was like, he's in a ballet class. I was like, I know, that's the reason we rocked up at this time to trash it.
Did you go to the front door?
Absolutely.
You should have. No, you couldn't invite them in.
No, we weren't allowed to.
No.
So go on. Sorry, Matt, I hijacked it. What's been going on since then?
No, it's fine. A lot of Zooming at the start of the year, of course, and then sort of from March onwards, a bit of studio class. But it was very weird go back into the studio in March because they were all dancing in boxes, if you remember. At the schools that I were working at, they were dancing in boxes and sort of 8 to 10 in a class maximum.
Yeah.
Hands, face, space, masks and all the rest of it. So still working online, but easing back into the studio.
I forgot about the boxes.
Yeah. And it was actually quite funny because when we were doing class, David, you can probably appreciate. The teachers were choreographing exercises that fit in the box.
Yeah.
So balances that turned but didn't move out of the box and stuff. So that's a chance for them to be creative. What was that like?
You can describe it as that. But you're right. Yes,
with that limitation.
Yeah, we did have to curtail the movement. But that was interesting.
Yeah.
When we were allowed to mix, I came over to your house, didn't I? And I played for you at your house on the piano, and watching you choreograph the class for the kids, whilst none of you had 3 foot by 3 foot. That was max 3 foot by 4 foot to move in. I didn't appreciate it actually.
It is amazing that everybody did that, and hats off to all the students who managed to do that. Well done, guys, because you really did far and beyond what we expected, and it was fantastic. But it was really an eye opener. Some people who had no room at all, and yet they managed to do something. It was great. Well, you really had to be on your legs.
Actually, in a really weird way, this sounds a bit perverted and it's not meant to, but then you got an insight into everybody's lives, didn't you? As much as everybody got an insight into your life, you sort of like this reciprocal sharing. Like, I remember one of the students was doing class in what looked like a rainforest or something like that, out in South America somewhere.
Tell you what was good. I got to learn students' names on Zoom.
Because
They have their and so then when I saw them in the studio, I could put a face to a name, and then that's how I got to know the students better.
Right.
Whereas sometimes the pianist, especially being freelance and not in one place, you don't always get to know the students. So that was really nice, actually.
That's true.
But dancing in the box, do you think that affected later on when you didn't need to dance in the box, like the students' spatial
Huge.
awareness?
Absolutely. Because nobody knew what was going on.
Did everybody crush into the window?
Yes, they didn't understand about how to travel anymore. It was exhausting all the time.
That spatial awareness doing travelling exercises, say from pirouettes onwards in the class, was it's just like a tsunami of dancers coming towards you from one corner, wasn't it? But getting back into the studio was...
Oh, it's been brilliant.
Yeah, and
nice.
actually from May onwards, that's when the open studios opened.
Yeah.
But previous to that, we were going into the open studio with a teacher and a demonstrator.
Oh.
And just so 3 of us being in the studio and teaching to 20 odd, 30 odd people on a screen, you know, before dancers were allowed into the studio again. So that was weird to play in a studio with either just yourself or the teacher or another person and not have that, that feedback from dancers and that rapport. That was just very weird.
I found, because I took a little bit longer, didn't I? Because I was, technically high risk and blah, blah, blah. So I was told to stay at home. I found that I had to almost relearn how to be an accompanist when I went back into the studio in September, because I got so used to the delay and the lag on Zoom that to then see things happening instantly was weird.
Yeah.
It felt like almost like, I don't know, like conditioned myself to know that I'm going to start playing and people will start moving 2 beats later or later. It was, and then to see things happen instantly, it was like, oh, this is weird.
Well, in order to take the audio on Zoom before you started playing, I always said, "Here we go."
Yeah.
And I started saying it in the studio when the teacher thanked me. "Here we go." Because that's just what I used to be, used to doing.
Like, one of the teachers we worked with, and I think we did it a lot, David, on Zoom. You go there, you'd say and I'd just say thank you.
Yeah.
And then every now and then when I'm not thinking, like a teacher will say thanks, and Chris, thank you.
But I remember being in the open classes and having dancers in front of you for the first time again. It was quite emotional.
Yeah, it was.
Everyone doing a Grand Prix at the same time and lovely Pour de Bras at the same time. It's really lovely. You can't beat that, can you?
Just to hear live music was just bliss. It's just a relief.
I had a really funny experience, and it was my second time in a studio in September, and I was covering for you, Matt, at one of these big London dance centres.
Yeah.
With a smaller gentleman, friend of ours, who's also a teacher. And it was great being back in it. It was a really, really, really busy class. And I was playing some sort of like slutty tango or something like that. And I think this guy was so happy to be back in the studio as well. And I'd not seen him for realistically about 18 months. And he sort of was like slut dropping tangos in front of me. And then he gives us a little wink. He's like, "Don't tell Akiko I'm flirting with you." And then sort of like walked backwards away from the piano with a little wink. It was brilliant. I was like, this is the second time back in the studio. Yeah, this is going to be a fun rest of the year.
Did you guys feel weird, like going back to play the real piano rather than the keyboard?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
In what way was it weird?
You can make a real instrument sing with the use of pedal, and it responds better at, a hammer hitting a string.
Yeah,
I was a bit tired.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
because
takes
you're
more
so
effort.
used to the
Yeah.
keyboard.
It's a bit like watching a production on the TV or being in the theatre watching the production live. The difference between the piano and the electric. The electrics sound great, but they're just not the same. You don't get the same response, or you don't get the same.
Yeah.
It's actually,
And it
it's
feels
hard,
different physically, yeah.
I forgot how weighty it was to play a grand piano. I went back in and felt really weak. So, David, you survived it all. You survived 2021.
Oh my goodness, yeah. But it feels like a dream. I mean, as you were talking about just coming out of it, that does feel like a dream. And then as we kind of like progressed and got into sort of like the terms and everything, and towards the summer, that was even more of sort of difficult things happened because we had people trying to guest choreographers coming in to help us because we were adamant we were going to try and do a live show, a summer show. Thankfully, that kind of happened. But the rehearsing part didn't go according to what we wanted it because of people not being able to come into the country and then having to isolate. So in the end, one choreographer who was just gorgeous, she had such patience. She did the whole of her piece online from the beginning to the end.
Wow.
It was amazing, totally amazing. I take my hat off to her. It was fantastic.
Wow.
That's phenomenal.
Yeah. And one guy who sadly came down with COVID, he wasn't allowed to perform, but she arranged with him privately to do a little video for the whole cast to share, and everybody was just adored, and they were cheering and whooping when they saw it. It was just so nice to have him back. It's sort of like as part of the group.
Can I ask, David, coming out of lockdown, did you feel sort of any pressure to catch up the dancers in their training for any sort of lost training that was on Zoom?
It was huge.
To get them to a point where they would have been had they been in the studio the whole time, sort of thing.
I think every teacher will know it's different for their group because you could only push them so far because there were so many different variables that you had to focus on, their health and everything, and how much space they had before, and it really did affect them a lot. So it took a long time to get back up to some sort of kind of like everybody up to speed, as it were. And I admire every single one of the students who managed to do that. It was amazing. And in the end, they put on a really good show. So they were good. But yes, it was very difficult.
I mean, it's so commendable, isn't it, for young people to have to go through that and be dedicated to their training.
Totally.
Hats off to
them.
them.
They were. Yeah.
It was hard.
Yeah.
I mean, I know we had many a Zoom drink, didn't we? We had a Zoom socials going back in the day.
Yeah, keep us sane.
For that after work drink.
Absolutely. Well, you just had to, hadn't you? Because there's so much tension.
Nobody
built
could go out either.
No.
That was it.
Yeah.
I remember meeting you, Matt, the first time in Greenwich Park or somewhere like that. I think
This
that was
year.
No, this is last year.
Right, yeah.
And when restrictions in the UK allowed us to meet, and it was summertime, we just went and walked my dog. And then I saw a pub open at the bottom of the park, and I just ditched the dog and ran towards them. I haven't seen a pub open for months.
And you lined up the drinks.
He's like, why have you got cider? You don't drink cider. I know, but it was bigger than the lager that they were offering. So, Mrs. H, how are you?
Me? Are you not talking about you?
No, Mrs. H, Mrs. Hobson.
Yes.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
How's your year been?
It's been very strange as coming out from lockdown as everybody else. And I had a little bit of change of my working condition as well, which is quite new to me. And I'm quite enjoying it too. And then I haven't been feeling very, very well for most of the year.
Oh no, is everything okay?
Because it's my husband's fault.
Oh. Why? What's happening?
Yes, I'm creating a human being.
You're pregnant.
That's so cute.
Yeah.
Okay, Chris, do you think the baby is going to laugh like that?
Originally, I put a baby crying and put 100% reverb on it, and it sounded the freakiest thing ever. So David and Matt told me to change it.
But that's what you think you're dreaming, it's not going to be like that.
Holy moly. So yeah, we've got a new addition to the podcast team coming.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you.
That's amazing.
Thank you.
Tell us how, tell us when.
24th of May, 2021. I don't know if it was that.
So it's not been, how have you felt this year then because of that?
Very tough. Physically, I was very, very unwell. And because of COVID and things like wearing face mask, being sick, and stuck in the studio, not knowing when I can go to the toilet.
Not being able to say anything at first.
Yeah, not being able to say anything. And as I get bigger and bigger, sitting 1 hour and a half in the ballet studio, it makes my bottom numb, my legs numb. It's just very inconvenient. And I'm sorry, everybody seeing me eating something behind the piano, because when I'm hungry, I'm sick. So I had to keep eating and drinking and do whatever I needed to do. So it's been a bit of survival.
Wow.
I know when I do the schedule now each week, I work out like usually what's the most important things to make sure everybody has a break. And now we've agreed with our colleagues, the most important thing is to make sure that Akiko's got a bathroom break at least every 90 minutes.
Yes.
How does this pregnancy compare to the first one in terms of sickness?
The first one was fantastic. I thought I can make 20 children in one go. I was like offering to the world that I will make children for anybody who wants children. And I said to everybody that pregnancy is so easy. I'm very sorry. And I'm very, after 7 years, after I had my son, I'm very sorry. Pregnancy is very hard, and I will never do it again. Even if Chris begs me, I think this is going to be the last one. And what annoys me the most at the moment is that I don't really feel my legs because of my body shape. And I asked my lovely husband to give me a massage of my legs. And he does it so badly so that I will never ask him again.
I think I've got a video on my phone of you slapping Akiko's legs.
It's a private video, Matt.
One evening, he was putting on music on the Siri, and he was literally slapping my leg like a drum. And that is not a massage.
No, and then you told me you wanted me to buy you a tens machine or something like that.
Never be good enough.
No, it wasn't, but I didn't know what you were asking me. And I was like, oh, maybe I've misunderstood. So I was on Amazon searching for a tennis machine. I was like, how does it? Then it was one of those balls that fires out, one of those machines that fires out balls to practice responding to a serve. I was like, how the heck does this help with a pregnancy?
I mean, you probably won't believe it, but I've got a tens machine on my desk at home right now.
It's
My
good.
sister's just had a baby 5 months ago, and so my friend was passing it to my sister and passing it around. So
I mean,
if
it's
you
good,
want it,
but it's good, but it's never be good than human being's hand, no?
Maybe not. Right, so that's been our 2021.
Yeah.
wait there.
Huh?
When's the baby due?
Oh, yeah.
5th of March.
5th of March.
Okay.
But
So
I'm hoping that it will arrive a bit earlier. I'm really hoping.
is what, as we record this, pretty much in real time, there's about 10 weeks to go, 11 weeks to go, something like that.
Something like that, yes.
And you're only just in maternity clothing.
Yeah.
You got away with it. The
Yeah.
tiniest, cutest bump.
Yeah, but my winter coat popped yesterday, so I need to buy something new.
But we'll keep the pregnancy going on the socials now that we've announced it, yeah?
Yes.
We're allowed to stick on videos of like massaging your legs and things.
I'm not sure about that.
Okay. Right, well, on that note, moving on.
Moving on.
It's Christmas coming. When do you start playing Christmas tunes in a ballet class? When is it socially acceptable to play a Christmas tune?
Do you have like set date? I do.
Yes, I'm very strict with mine. You're less strict. You go.
I'm always like anybody who comes and asks for Christmas tune, I said wait until 1st of December. 1st of December
I think
is the day.
December's a good rule, isn't it?
Yeah.
I do. If I'm working in the school, I'll do the last 10 days before they finish, because otherwise December with the same students and teachers every day becomes a bit boring.
Gosh, I'm surprised that you're generous. I thought you're going to be just like last one day.
No, I'm kind. But we were saying this before we started recording, that I tried to do a whole class of Christmas tunes and it got to pirouettes and I just got bored of it. So I just decided, I've had enough of this. I've had enough of this rubbish now. So we're going to go back to, realistic, normal class music. It was just like somebody had unplugged the plug off the Christmas tree. It was much better. But then, go on.
I think it does divide people. Some people either love it or hate it. There's some teachers that I don't play any Christmas tunes for because I just know they don't like it.
Oh, wow.
And some people love it and they want the whole class.
Do you like it, David?
Yeah, I do. Do you have a specific kind of like list that you go down
Yeah.
of your tune?
I mean, I was saying this as well. because you only sort of play it for a month of the year, you can forget your Christmas tunes. And so I have to go through the music and just remind myself what I know.
Right.
Because you don't play it all year, so
Yes.
you forget.
I forgot.
I use this app on the iPad. So it's called Fourscore, and you can organize things almost like into folders. So I've got a Christmas section saved in there, and it's called Christmas 2/4, Christmas Flowing 3/4,
Flowing 3/4.
yeah, Christmas Light Waltzes, Christmas Coders, and it's just got all the rubbish from different Christmas books that I've collated over the years.
That's a good idea.
Because you forget, because
Yeah.
it's 10 days or a couple of weeks, isn't it? Especially if you're in the companies or something like that. They don't want to be bombarded with Christmas tunes daily from the
No.
1st of December
No.
through to the 24th.
Yeah, that's painful.
But one of the student came to me and said, Akiko, like, it's 1st of December. Will you play Christmas tune? I was like, yeah, I play anything you like, any request. And you know what he said?
What's that?
Nutcracker. And I was like, you grew up dancing Nutcracker. And every year Nutcracker. And then you can get to choose any Christmas tune to play in a ballet class and you want Nutcracker.
For some people, it's not Christmas until they
Until you
hear
hear it.
Nutcracker.
That's true.
And actually, it was on all the adverts today. All of the tunes from that, from that ballet.
Do you know, my
everywhere,
introduction
isn't
to
it?
the Nutcracker was probably when I was about 4 or 5. And if you're outside the UK or if you're young, you might not remember this, but there was an advert for fruit and nut
Yes.
Oh, yes.
from Cadbury's. It's a fruit and nut chocolate bar, and the advert went yeah, da, 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 dun,
Yeah.
dun, dun, dun. Obviously Merlisons, and they had some rubbishy little things going. Everyone's a fruit and
Yes.
nut cake.
And it's catchy though.
Yeah, that was my first introduction to ballet at
Yeah.
4.
I think years ago we did in a Christmas show Nutcracker. So we were rehearsing some tune from Nutcracker during the day, and I had a big break, so I went to the Starbucks to grab some coffee. And as I entered, there was a Nutcracker tune in the Starbucks. and then got back to rehearsal, played another Nutcracker, got home. And I turned on the TV, and there was adverts with Nutcracker tune, and then I had to phone up some, I can't remember, bank or something like this, and then there was a waiting music, and that was Sugar Plum Fairy,
Right.
all in one day.
Right, so I think 2008, the company that I was on tour with, we had done 10, 11 weeks of Nutcracker, so 9 of them on tour, and then 2 weeks at the base up north. And then we had a week or 10 days off, and I had to phone up and make a hospital appointment, and I was put on hold, and it was Sugar Plum. But I'd just done Sugar Plum for realistically about 100 performances. And so they came back in, and she asked me a question. She took me off hold, and she said, "Okay, I'll put you back on hold." I was like, "No, you do not put me on hold anymore. All I want you to do is just I don't care if you're slagging me off. I don't care what you're calling me, but do not put me on hold because I cannot listen to that anymore. I cannot do it. I refuse. I cannot."
It's a bit sad, like as a child, I used to love that tune. I thought it's really cute, but now we're almost allergic to it.
Well, I just, as a bit of a joke, I played for class this week at the company, and I just started playing those opening chords of Sugar Plum. As soon as they started to face the bar, the whole room went, no! So, only joking, start again. This is a real warm-up. Yeah.
When I used to work at a previous company we had, it's very easy to work out, it was Northern Ballet, and there was a company called, there was a ballet of Christopher Cable's called A Christmas Carol with Carl Davies music, and it was all Christmas Carol music. Of course it wasn't, I think the name. But we started to rehearse that in August when we came back from the summer
Oh
break.
my gosh.
And it starts off with dun 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 da 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 da. And it was brilliant fun to perform. It was really well written for the orchestra. But
In August.
you were so over Christmas by the end of September.
Yeah.
It was a novelty for the first few days. After that, it was done with this now.
Well, when I worked in America, I mean, Christmas over there starts really early.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
From Thanksgiving onwards until after January, the New Year's, it's Nutcracker every single day, sometimes twice a day.
No.
So it's mega.
Do you remember when we went to your brother's wedding in Hawaii a couple of years ago, and we went and there was an all year round Christmas shop.
Oh yeah, Christmas ornament shop.
Brilliant.
Yeah. We bought some, didn't we?
Yeah, actually,
in
some of the
summer.
decorations that are on the tree we bought in July and August 2020. No,
Like-
2019.
Like Elvis Presley dressing up Santa or something.
Well, at this time of recording, there are 4 productions of Nutcracker in London
Ooh.
this Christmas.
I'm going to see one of them.
Yes.
I
Apparently
think.
they're all sold out.
Yeah.
Yes.
They've all sold well, yeah.
Wow.
The one that I'm going to see this week, when I checked today, I'd got 61 tickets remaining
For the run or for that performance?
for that one performance.
All right.
You know, I was going to the matinee. It's the evening one now.
All right, okay.
And does your Christmas tune CD download well every year? Or
Yeah, funny enough, modern ballet studio melodies, Sounds of Christmas and more Sounds of Christmas, they tend to
Plug, plug,
peak
plug.
from about week 4 of November through to around now.
every year?
Yeah.
Interesting.
People won't pay for it, they just stream it. Because for 11 months of the year, it's redundant, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But listen, guys, we're back.
We
We're
are.
back around the table.
Hurrah.
Yeah.
I wish you could see us because we're all smiling. And only 2 of us have got Prosecco. It's fantastic. So we've got loads of episodes coming up in the new year for you. We're going to talk about rubato, which is David's favourite subject. We're going to talk about how we read a studio. We call it reading the room. We're going to rapport between musicians and dancers. A big question: how many show tunes is too many? I'm not sure. What would you tell yourself? What would you tell? Sorry. What would you... I can't do this anymore. I'm so out of practice. What do you know now that you wish you knew 10 years ago? That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
And then before we all sign off and wish you a very Merry Christmas, we are going to do another Q&A session at some point in early 2022. So if you've got any questions, anything you want us to talk about, please do get in contact with us. We are on the email at balletpianopodcast@gmail.com. Or you can check in with us on our website, which is balletpianopodcast.com. And on there, you'll find links to all of our social media profiles. So now I am going to wish you a very, very Merry Christmas and Happy Holiday Season. All the best for the start of 2022. And we look forward to talking and coming in your ears very soon. Lots of love from me, Chris Hobson.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Happy holidays, everybody.
Bye-bye.